Before we get to the movie, I want to ask you, do you remember the day when cable was installed in your house?
Yes.
The man coming over and installing the box?
I wasn't there when the man showed up, but I remember walking in and the Go-Go's Our Lips Were Sealed. The song was playing on MTV, and that's a big dark line in my life. It was before that moment and after that moment. MTV just took over my life for the next 10 or 15 years.
Do you remember the first movie that you watched on cable?
Flash Gordon?
The first movie I saw was the musical Gigi.
You've talked about this on the show before.
Damn it.
You sat down and you watched the whole thing. I was thinking about a day when I was at the video store, and I thought, maybe I should rent Gigi sometime. Talk to Matt about it.
Shit. Did I talk about it in a cold open?
Yeah.
Have we done this cold open before?
We've talked about cable before on the show.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. Over the years of doing this show with you, I've had some time to evaluate your character. You seem to be a fine, upstanding person. Family man, taxpayer, responsible citizen. I think it probably all comes from good upbringing.
Yeah.
But what if things went differently for you? What if you were sent down a different, darker path? You might possibly have grown up to be a menace to society.
Oh! Well, I could have been. I was thinking when you were starting that sentence that you were going to do a reanimator. But yes.
Released in 1993, starring Tywin Turner, Lorenz Tate, Samuel L. Jackson, Jada Pinkett, and Basement Hall of Famer Bill Duke, M2S was directed by the Hughes brothers, Alan and Albert. And by the way, guys, I still haven't forgiven you for what you did to From Hell.
And Benjamin Franklin and Alexander Hamilton were never presidents, so they can't be dead presidents, guys. We have deflated their entire career. Let's see what we do to this movie.
Tupac Shakur was originally cast to play a minor role in this film, but he was fired, which led to a physical fight between him and co-director Alan Hughes.
What if Hughes was the guy who killed Tupac? We figured it out! We are completely destroying the Hughes brothers today, and I got nothing against you guys.
Shakur was charged with assault and battery and sentenced to 15 days in jail. This film was awarded Best Movie at the 1994 MTV Movie Awards, beating out such films as Philadelphia, Jurassic Park, and Schindler's List.
Wow.
For those of you playing along at home, we're actually not watching this version of the film, we're watching the director's cut. It is unrated and 32 seconds longer.
Oh dear. I saw this movie not long after it came out on video. I do think it is the movie that taught all of us white people that it's cool to hold guns this way. If not practical, it looks tough.
Think you could still become a menace to society?
Mm-hmm.
You could become a prankster, the kind of person that plays little practical jokes on people. Well, the good folks at Jokes and Gags, who brought us rattlesnake eggs and smash glass, have got you covered.
Oh, wonderful. It's a squirt camera.
Tell them to say cheese right before you squirt them.
That's what I'll do. I wonder who's going to get his hands on this and take lots of photos of me.
Come on over to the old leather couch where we can pour one out for our dead homies as we watch Menace to Society. Kane and O-Dog are at the corner store buying beers. The shopkeepers are nervous
because they look like they might be trouble,
and they want them to leave.
The cashier says the wrong thing.
I feel sorry for your mother.
Uh-oh.
I don't want any trouble, just get out!
Why do you just ask for trouble?
Kane can't believe what's happening. Let's get out of here. But O-Dog knows they can't leave until they get the security tape.
Shut up!
He died as he lived, not wanting any trouble.
I thought I told you to open the damn register.
I need you to aid and abet me. Welcome to Menace to Society.
People say I'm a menace to society, but girls in biker shorts are so fly to me.
I see. This is a sequel to Menace Society. How did we get here? Well, it all started back in the 60s. There was a certain riot in the Watts neighborhood of Los Angeles. And to a large extent, the city has never recovered. After the riots, Kane's father takes up drug dealing, and his mother takes up drugs.
My father's so dope.
And quoted Ezekiel.
I got ate by a shark in a surprising manner.
As a young boy, he watches his father kill a man. And that kind of thing sticks with you.
What?
Oh yeah, some G-funk. See, this is how you dance to it. This is funk dancing.
It is?
Yeah. How you doing it?
There we go.
Growing up out here, there was shit that couldn't be learned in no classroom.
The art, music, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Back in the present, Kane goes and sees Ronnie and her son, Anthony.
What the hell you doing?
I'm straight up big wheeling.
What are you doing? Having a normal, happy childhood? That's not the Watts way.
Her man, Parnell, is in prison doing life without parole. So Kane goes by and looks after Ronnie and makes sure that she and Anthony are okay. He is not trying to start a romance because he respects Parnell too much. Parnell was like the father that he was not a father, but he was the father he should have had rather than the father that he... Never mind. Both of Kane's parents are dead, and he lives with his grandparents. They try and put Kane on the straight and narrow, but them streets get in the way, and his friends. Speaking of his friends, there's a party that night, and we get to meet a bunch of them. Nothing but the dog. Chase the cat. There's AWACS, Sharif, who's a Muslim.
And he gets down on all of his friends for doing things like drinking and killing people.
O-Dog is there too, and he's showing off that security tape so people know how tough he is. Kane doesn't like it. It's risky. Kane is out driving around with his buddy Harold.
Marshall Crenshaw. Someday, someway.
Oh, Crenshaw, that's where they hang out and the cars go bounce up and down.
Oh. And their car is hijacked or carjacked.
Harold says, I'm not going out like this. He tries to pull a gun.
Harold gets very killed.
Kane gets shot as well, and he goes to the hospital. But he makes it through.
Jenny, Tommy, how do you feel?
Fine. Not a smidge of temper.
Not a smidge of...
Man, turn this public domain shit off.
Y'all need...
Katie, Kevin, come on inside.
Let me be wise at you.
Stop being like you're being. This isn't a good thing.
Do you care whether you live or die?
I don't know.
The guys figure out who it was that carjacked and killed Harold.
Let's do this.
It's time for some poetic justice. Wait, wrong movie.
Hey, check this out, check this out.
You jacked that career.
We gotta send this to Sundance.
O-Dog has a shotgun now.
Hey, man, this what the
Yo, man,
police...
nigga, yo, man, what you doing, nigga? Listen.
Oh, scared like some bitches.
Because you kill people with guns and you have a gun and you're pointing the gun at us?
Go in there, buck them niggas, and get the fuck out.
I'm gonna stay right here and listen to Prairie Home Companion. They go to this hot dog stand, they find the two guys, and they light them up.
You need some help?
That's what you get for making me Miss Garrison Keeler. Kane's not just looking after Ronnie and Anthony, he's also giving them money on the sly. Ronnie doesn't like this. She says, I don't need your money. And Kane says, you can have this money.
Here we go, man. I got $2 for you, man. I know I'm a little short, but,
As far as that credit, debt it. You think a crackhead's gonna pay you back, you can forget it. 10 crack commandments, Craig. A white nerd comes to the door. Crispin Glover, you're in the wrong part of town.
Can you find a car that matches this description?
They give him the bum's rush, but they're gonna do the job anyway. They find the car, they steal the car, and the cops show up. Chase base. Kane does a short stint in jail. O-Dog gets off because he's still a minor.
the cops matched my prints to the one from that bottle I dropped in a liquor store the night of the robbery.
He's interrogated by a cop. A certain, imposing, frightening cop. Duke it up.
You might know me from the movie Car Wash, and I have some questions for you.
The cop messes with his mind, tricks him, gets him to contradict his own story.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
Straight up Duke move. They don't have that security tape, so they don't have a case.
And they let him go. Meanwhile, O-Dog's out shooting crackheads.
This shit legit.
Too legit to quit, my brother. Am I right? The raps? Back out on the streets, he becomes a straight up jacker. That just doesn't sound right. He jacks a man for his Daytons, the fancy rims.
And demands takeout.
Let me have a double burger.
And aside of call the police, he starts crack production.
Yo, Drag! It was once said by a man who couldn't quit. Yo, man, please can I have another
What you want, nigga?
living in Captain...
All I hear is...
He's cooking up the crack dope.
Get high off your own supply.
Or he's just doing some canning. Perhaps
Yeah.
it's fall. All the fellas are having a picnic because it's such a beautiful day in L.A. Kane meets this fine girl named Alina.
Gets her number.
Later on, he claims to have hooked up with her. Mr. Butler shows up. He's a teacher at the high school. And later on, Kane finds out that there's this trip to Kansas that Sharif and Stacy are going to go on. They're going to get out of L.A. And Mr. Butler wants Kane to go with him.
There's no future here. I've watched far too many kids end up doing nothing or worse.
While they're riding around, O-Dog and Kane get hassled by the cops for no reason. The cops beat him up, and they dump him in the Mexican part of town, thinking they're going to get beat up even more. But the Mexicans are actually really nice. They take him to the hospital.
Well, guess what? I got a job.
I was looking for a job and then I found a job, and heaven knows I'm miserable now. You could come with me. You can get out of here. We can go to Atlanta. I wish I was a menace to society. I'd travel more. Ronnie has a going away party.
All the fellows are there, including Chauncey, who's a handsy creep. I only drink small batch microbrew malt liquor, because, you know, you can really taste the difference.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty. Got some beer.
Beer? No. You may have some juice.
Wrong movie.
Hey, Ann, what you doing out here?
I'm here for beer, reefer, and gun handling.
Take your juice and go to your room.
Gin and juice? Because I got my mind on the money and the money on my mind.
Ronnie takes Kane into the bedroom. Listen, are you coming with me or not? Yes, I will come with you to Atlanta.
Hey, that's not cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, kissing girls is really cool. Kissing girls is really cool. Ugh. I enjoy that activity.
Okay, then I will make love to you. Smooth jams for lovemaking. Chauncey is making moves on Ronnie, and she doesn't like it. And Kane really doesn't like it. And he takes O-Dog's pistol and does a little pistol whipping up top Chauncey's head. Chauncey's not happy about that at all. And the next day, he decides to take that security tape and mail it into the cops. It turns out Kane did hook up with Alina.
Kane, I'm pregnant.
Boom. Not my baby. Bye.
Kane and Ronnie go to prison to visit Purnell.
We're going to tell him what's going on. It's okay with me. You go with Ronnie, you take care of her.
Take care of Anthony.
I would if I could. Alina's cousin comes to Kane's house and says, hey, I don't like the way you're treating my cousin. He says, hey, I don't like your face. I'm going to stomp on it for a while.
Grandpa witnesses this, and he says, that's enough. You're going to have to get out of the house. Right now.
Everyone's packing up to go to their various locations. This is going to be a tough transition for Kane. He's going to have to leave behind gangster rap and get used to dirty South rap.
Yeah.
The cousin, the guy who he beat up, is organizing a drive-by. They drive by with their Uzis and they shoot everything in sight.
Yo, what's up now, partner?
Sharif is killed.
Kane gets shot a bunch of times. The little boy, Anthony's on the sidewalk. He's right in the path of the bullets. And Kane runs over to him, throws his body over the boy. Anthony is okay because Kane protected him. Kane is not okay because he is full of bullets. As he's dying, we hear his final thoughts.
My grandpa asked me one time if I care whether I live or die. Yeah, I do. Now it's too late.
Menace to Society.
How could you not have seen this movie, man? It seems very odd to me because I know that this is an aspect of culture that's important to you. How did this happen?
I saw Boys in the Hood,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a lot of Boys in the Hood clones that came out after it, and I thought this was one of them, but I was wrong. I think this might be a better movie than Boys in the Hood.
That movie looks like a candy store in comparison to this movie.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I remember Boys in the Hood being a lot preachier than this one.
When lessons are laid out, they're just immediately discarded. Whenever Grandpa gives advice, shut up. Sharif, shut up. Lessons are pointless. We can't get out of this life.
In a lot of these movies, people are killed because of proximity.
Mm-hmm.
They are a victim of the streets. I think Kane is more of a tragic hero. He doesn't go down because he engages in street activities. It's because he embraces it.
Mm-hmm.
And he, wholeheartedly does every hood cliche in the book. He cooks crack. He gets someone pregnant. He pistol whips a guy. He pushes aside the good that's inside him. And he embraces the bad. And that's really what his flaw is, and that's what brings him down.
Well, there's a question of whether or not he knows that there is a potential of good inside him.
There is a lot about Kane that's sort of dead inside. He doesn't even know whether he wants to live or die. But the fact that he is horrified by the initial murder shows that he's at heart a good person. It's in there somewhere. The camera work and the shot compositions and the way that they visually told the story was really well done. I like how he shoots the drive-by. There's a textbook way to shoot a drive-by. And they sort of throw some new stuff into there.
So, I'm so happy they didn't kill Anthony.
That would have been too bleak even for this movie.
I don't know. It would have fit in.
I mean, just the fact that Sharif got it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really a bummer. Another thing that this movie does well is that it lets the viewer feel the energy and the thrill of gangster life without glorifying it.
There's no glamour in this at all. It's not like Goodfellas, where at least for the first 2/3 of Goodfellas, you're like, hey, this doesn't look so bad, before everything falls apart.
Yeah.
This always looks bad, but you get where they're coming from and why they do it. It's an easy way to make money. They're fueled by anger. This is one of the angriest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
All of the characters are angry. I'd be angry too. This is the life that they just accidentally landed in.
I don't think God really cared too much about us. Well, he wouldn't have put us here.
The montage of the Watts riot at the beginning, just for that, I'd be angry forever. There's a shot where a policeman is machine gunning into crowds. Tanks going down the street. Hey, welcome to America, guys. You've been here for 400 years. So you get where they're coming from, but it's a tricky sympathy that goes along with the characters in this movie. You sympathize with them, but you also see how someone like Kane has earned his fate. He doesn't deserve it, but he has earned it. I hate to use this term, but there's...
Now think about what you're about to say.
I'm not using that term, but there's another word that I really, really hate, and it's calling someone a bitch. But that is used very specifically in this movie. Anything that is shown as
perceived as a weakness.
But the things that are perceived as a weakness are things that are
intrinsic to humanity.
Yeah, a moral compass, showing emotions in a certain way.
Yeah, that wasn't me. Trying to act all caring and sensitive. Yeah, that was you.
And that could be the root of all the problems. That could be the root of everything.
I need to look like a man. A man looks like my dad, who was a drug dealer and shot people.
Also, I need to turn off these emotions so I can do these horrible things and not commit suicide from the shame of it all.
The despair.
But if I don't feel anything, then I can steal that guy's tires.
I don't know if the Hughes brothers sprang from this world, but the level of detail shows an intimacy with this world that even if you had a New Yorker like Spike Lee doing this movie, he wouldn't have caught on to certain things. I feel like I can just put my toe into this movie because I'm so far removed.
It's hard to imagine feeling desperate every day. And every day walking out of the door and thinking, I'm not going to walk back in this door.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look at this movie as for us to understand what's going on in these these places that are so far removed and to be able to practice empathy as a result of it. Menace to Society. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. And now it's time for us to become a menace to Seen It.
Seen It.
Wayne Bristol writes, Seen It, less than zero. Hauntingly beautiful score and one of RDJ's greatest performances. Seen It.
That would be Robert Downey Jr. Seen It.
I don't know from cocaine. Never touched the stuff. But it was because of this movie that I understood the New York Dolls lyric, your mirror's getting jammed up with all your friends. It's a double entendre. It means that all your friends are vain and always pripping themselves, and also they're snorting the cocaine off the mirror.
Yeah.
I remember Michael J. Fox being convincing.
You're not remembering the right movie.
Oh.
Bright Lights, Big City.
Bright Lights, Big City.
Yes.
Oh, man, I was thinking of the totally wrong movie.
Yeah. This is the one with RDJ in it.
Yeah, but who's the other guy?
Andrew McCarthy.
Andrew McCarthy.
Jamie Gertz, I believe. Ooh, Matt hasn't seen it.
No, I've seen Less Than Zero. I just don't remember anything about it.
There's a shot of Robert Downey Jr. walking past his CD collection, and I thought, man, he's got so many CDs. He's rich. And it was like 25 CDs. Note behind me over here. This thing. We're rich kids now.
I'm living the life of Downey.
Jack Hegarty writes, have you, by any chance, happened to have seen Chimes at Midnight? Yes, seen it.
I have heard the Chimes at Midnight, and I have also seen the Chimes at Midnight.
Yes, I saw this on the big screen.
Nice.
This was very hard to come by for decades. It was caught up in some sort of lawsuit for years, and it just couldn't be released in the States.
Not surprising when it comes to Wells.
Maybe my favorite Shakespeare adaptation. Wells does this very interesting thing where whenever you go to the castle, all the shots seem to be very angular, like just following lines the entire time.
Yeah.
While when you go down to the taverns where Falstaff lives, the cameras are constantly spinning around, looping around, just going up to the balcony and back down again. So it's this combination of the madness of Falstaff's life and the rigidity of court life. I'd say the weak point of the movie is whoever played Prince Hal. He is not compelling at all, which usually happens in Wells's later careers when he has someone who is the star of the movie and he's the co-star. He chooses someone lame.
Jorge Vicente S.E. Perhaps that means Southeast. The Drunken Master, a real kung fu comedy movie that features a young Jackie Chan pulling some real cool-looking martial arts. Seen it?
Seen it.
I'm not sure if I saw the original one or if I saw a different one. In fact, I think they might have even remade it.
There's another Drunken Master without Jackie Chan in it.
Okay, I saw the one with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I just really vividly remember the scene where the Drunken Master is set upon by the bad guys and he's not drunk yet. And he can't fight. And Jackie Chan is trying to get him the bottle of sake while at that same time fending guys off. And I just remember that being a very funny scene.
It's a second story thing, and he has like the really long stick that he's...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Nick Redding writes, if you have the number 19 stuck in your head, it means you must seek the Dark Tower. Not the crappy movie version, obviously. Let me tell you, after I finished the Dark Tower series, I ran out to watch the crappy movie version. I have seen it.
I have not seen it.
This movie is not an adaptation of the Dark Tower. It is a completely new story that is based on characters and events and stuff. So once you know that, it actually is still really terrible. They muffed it in the first place because you cast Matthew McConaughey as the gunslinger, you cast Idris Elba as the Man in Black. If there's anyone who can so effortlessly summon malevolence, it's Idris Elba. And when McConaughey does it, it just seems like a clown show.
And if there's someone who looks like a gaunt, ageless gunslinger...
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I read a bunch of reviews of this, and the general consensus is the only good thing about the movie is Elba's performance. But I don't think he put anything into it. He played that role like Sylvester Stallone would play it. Just this kind of stoic action hero.
Yeah.
Roland Deschain is not an action hero. There's a scene where they're in the forest, and there's shadows out there. And he says, beware them. They are the Taheen. Now, this means something for people who read the book, because we know what Taheen are. It means nothing to someone who hasn't read the book. But it ultimately means nothing to someone who's read the book because the Taheen are never mentioned for the rest of the movie. Also, the Man in Black, Walter O'Dim, is a wizard. He is not the CEO of Evil Incorporated. McConaughey wears this business suit the whole time. Basically, he walks into a room full of bad guys and says, what do we got, people? I mean, that's just stupid. I don't think he says those exact words, but it's basically that. The only other thing I have to say about this movie is that the people who made it have forgotten the faces of their fathers.
Oh. Oh.
There's a place that you can go that isn't dangerous or menacing in any way. It's our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see all of our episodes, and there are PayPal donation buttons you can click on to support this show with a one-time or a rolling monthly donation.
Yes, you can do that, like this person who he's about to mention.
Well, I've got two people I'm going to mention. First of all, there's Scott, who gave us a very generous donation regarding a private matter. Scott, all of our best to you and your family. And I want to shout out Alexander Smith. I was having some technical problems with the Life Force episode, and Alexander immediately stepped up to help out. To find out who the rest of our donors are and to see the contents of our mail crate, you should watch Unboxing, which is a satellite show of this show, and it comes out this coming Friday.
I'll be there. Will you?
Menace to Society is done. We're done, but you're not done yet because you have to watch this. Next time you jack a convenience store, you want to get some coverage. You know, you want an establishing shot, a wide establishing shot, and then you want reverse close-ups. Shoot it in color, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's not an art film just because you made it black and white.
Yo, what's up now, partner?